Hello and welcome to one of my C++ tutorials where today I will be going over do-while loops. Yep, so do-while loops is what you can do in C++. But before I do, please may I ask you to hit that like button on this video, subscribe to my channel, and also share my channel far and wide. Without further ado, we're going to go into do-while. Do-while. Okay. So a do-while loop is a control flow statement, so it will execute a block of code at least once, and then either repeatedly executes the block or stops executing it, and that's dependent on a given Boolean condition at the end of the block. So unlike for loops and while loops, where they test the loop condition at the top of the loop, the do-while in C and C++ programming will check its condition at the bottom of the loop. So let's say we've got a program. So we've got an integer variable, number, and that's initialized to 10. And then what you'll have is the word do, and then you'll have squiggly brackets, and then cout number. You're going to have the cout, so it's going to do stuff here. And then you'll have, at the bottom, you'll have while, and then plus plus number, so we're incrementing the number, and while that is less than or equal to 12. And then outside the for loop, we just have the number, and then we can end it there. So let's run it and see what it does. So you got 10, 11, 12, 13, end. So while it's less than or equal to 12, it's going to output 12 still because it's equal to 12. Once it goes over 12, the do-while loop ends. If I decided to change the number to a 5, we're going to see a 5 appear. So all the numbers from 5 all the way to 13. Let's say I decide to do 19 here. Change the number to 19, it's going to go from 5 to 20. So it's equal to 19. If, however, I decide to do less than 19, then it's going to stop at 19. Yep, stops at 19. So those are some of the different ways we can work the do-while loop. Let's have a look at some tasks, shall we? So, let's say we use this code above. So we're going to modify the example where we can enter a number for the int number variable. And then a second variable where the user can input the number they want to end the range. So let's do int first and then last. And then what we're going to do, we're going to cout, enter the first number, cin first, then we're going to cout, enter the last number. And then we're going to cin last. Then we're going to do, and we've got the squiggly brackets, and that just indents on its own. So in there, we are going to do, we're going to do something like a number. So let me find the do-while examples here then. So we got 2 there, so do, so it's going to be n, so it's going to be \n. So we will need number as an integer. So we're going to cout \n number. Okay? And then we're going to have while. And then we're going to have a while down here, and that's going to be number is less than or equal to last. Okay? And then we're just going to have a cout, which is going to be our number. And then that will end. So let's run it and see if that actually works. So I'm going to enter a 3, and I'm going to end up with a 20. Can't do that because that's an infinite loop there. So what we should have had was number and nnum. So we don't want an infinite. So we've got number and nnum. So you just need number and nnum. So it's plus number is less than or equal to n number. I'm going to do 3 and I'm going to do 20. And that's what we want there. Okay? So we've nearly got it right, but the last example had just made an infinite do-while loop. That never ended. So this is what we want. So we want the number variable and the n number. Number's the first one. Then we got n number. And whilst that number is plus number is less than or equal to the n number, then it's going to stay in the do while that keeps incrementing. And then once it is above the n number, then the loop just ends. So that's 1. Number 2, let's say we want to read positive integers from the keyboard. So we've got to find out if a number just ended as larger than all the others before. So we're going to use an if statement in this one. And the input will terminate when the 0 has been entered. So I will look at my example and we'll go over this one together. So what we're going to do, you got your int input and bigger so far, which is equal to 0. But I'm going to put these in one line because it's more efficient. So then in our do statement, we're going to ask the user to enter a number. And then once they input a number, like 3, I'm going to say 10. So I'm going to enter a number because it calls it bigger so far as the input, and that's while that input is not equal to 0. So 10 is not equal to 0, 20 is not equal to 0, 1's not, 2's not, 3's not, 4's not, 5's not. As soon as I enter a 0, it ends. So the biggest number so far out of all the numbers we've inputted was 20. Okay? Let's try another one. So I'm going to try 33, 34, 35, 36. And there we go. So it's still going to output what the biggest number was in this one. So that is essentially that program. Now we need to read the positive integer numbers from the keyboard and find out the number entered larger than all the others before. And the input terminates when the 0 has been entered, and we have to print the smallest number now. So what we will need is the smallest number. So it's no different. So there's some important differences. So where we've had bigger so far, this is going to be the smallest. So the smallest so far, that can be initialized to all the 9s we could think of. We could add another 9 in there. And then what we've got, I'm going to ask you to input a number. That gets inputted as usual. Smallest so far input. Was that's not equal to 0. So you don't need the decrement in this case. So all input is smaller than smallest so far. So I'm going to do a 4, 5, 6, 23, 12, 50, 1, 0. Smallest is 0. That's when it stops. Okay? But the idea is to have minus minus smallest so far. Or that, we could just have that as input, couldn't we? It's always worth a try, because the smallest number is not always going to be a 0. Nope, so that's not going to work anymore, because we don't need the decrement in this one. So while that's not equal to 0. So in this one, as we've done that, smallest is always going to be a 0. So no matter what other small numbers I put in, if I put a 0, which is when it stops, smallest is going to be 0. So that is all of the do while loop tasks that I could actually find. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to click that like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this channel far and wide. And if you want to support me even further, please consider donating to my Buy Me a Coffee page. And thank you for watching this video. I enjoyed making this one for you, and I hope to make another one for you very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.